Yeah. MD. JPB. It's only right, baby.
Yeah. Why you mad? I got a bad bro. Name hot in these streets, no Tabasco. But I'm so stuck, that's a fact, yo. And if you think I'm frontin', you can run it back, yo. Go on, run it back.
You know that I run it. Everything you wanna do, I already done it. And I got your little boo telling me she love me. I got this. Damn, it's gonna be a long night.
Hello guys, what is up? It is me, Prince of this. I'm back here with another video, and today I'm doing What If Luffy Was Bond's Reincarnation Part 9, Caged. And I know finally, I posted it. Sorry for taking so long, but I don't have time to do things like I used to. And also, when you get close to around this part in One Piece story, things get way more complicated than they have to be. I love One Piece. One Piece is so fucking long, and there are so many characters that I just didn't know how to integrate all of them. It took a while, but I finally did it. So here is the video. Now we're gonna begin. So last time we started off with Luffy arriving at Mermaid Grove, and he met the royal family of Fishman Island. And there he takes away Shirahoshi, which causes problems. He meets up with Jinbei, who then said he couldn't join yet, but he will after he takes care of business with Big Mom. So the Straw Hats then go to save the princess and King, Neptune, but to the surprise of everyone, Brook single-handedly destroys Hodi's army. Wait, they don't need to save the princess. The princes, my bad. So, Brook single-handedly destroys Hodi's entire army, and after this, they go to Punk Hazard and destroy that place, kill, whatever the hell his name is, and save some children, and then they leave to Dressrosa because Ace invited Luffy for a tournament. And on the way, an alliance is formed with Trafalgar, and they arrive, and during the tournament, Luffy gets some people who want to join his ranks, and he lets them in. So it is time for Luffy's block, and we cut to Luffy standing in the ring with the crowd now being quiet as his opponents stare him down with sweat dripping down their body as they cannot believe they're actually going to fight an emperor. Begin, they announce over the yell, as Luffy then releases a red burst of haki, hitting everyone, and the weak nobodies get disqualified, but his men could handle this much because they had to become stronger to join Luffy. Not bad. Now come at me, he would say, as Ideo rushes at Luffy, punching so hard that it causes a shockwave, but Luffy easily dodges and flicks him on the head, and this sends him flying into the stomach of Chinjao. Hydrogen, the giant, then attacks swinging his weapon, but Luffy puts his leg out, stopping it, before he then pushes the weapon back, while the mighty giant holds it, and this makes him spin like crazy, as he takes out some people, but Chinjao stops him and hits him out of the arena. Now as Luffy does this, Chinjao then charges at him and throws a punch with all his power, which Luffy then catches one-handed, but this blows back all the other contenders. Garp must be proud of you, huh? Chinjao would say. You know him? Luffy would ask. And Chinjao then punches again, and Luffy dodges. He then says that Garp ruined his head, which was used in his primary style of fighting, and Garp was like the devil for all pirates back then. And Luffy, hearing this, chuckles when Chinjao then punches Luffy again, and he disappears from sight, appearing by his head with a punch to his head, and it was so hard that it reforms his head back to a cone, but it also sends Chinjao flying out of the stage as he slams into the water, causing a huge amount of water to hit people in the stands. And they cheer as Luffy then raises his hand in victory. Chinjao then comes out of the water feeling pain on his head, but he checks and he erupts in tears as his cone head had returned, and he thanks Straw Hat, and Chinjao's men get, sentimental. In this moment though, we cut to Trafalgar as he almost gets hit by Dofi's powerful kick, but this kick is blocked by the foot of Sanji. They are in the forest of Dressrosa, as Sanji would then ask, where the hell did he come from? You're not getting in my way, Blackleg, Dofi would say as he forces his foot down, but Sanji is still unaffected as he smiles, saying, do you know what it's like to have a captain like Luffy? For years, these legs have been put in the worst conditions. You can beat me in hockey, but not when it comes to fighting. Sanji then disappears, appearing with a kick right behind him and hits him on the head, sending him cratering into the ground face first. And this is when Dofi actually turns into a bunch of strings, and Sanji just smiles nervously as he looks behind to see a smiling Dofi. You monster bastard, he would say, as Dofi and Sanji then fight, while Trafalgar calls Luffy, and then he utters help, as this is when Sanji bursts with power, which pushes back Dofi, and Dofi would say, shit, it's reached this far? Straw Hats move. Synchronicity. Sanji, having gained a huge boost in power, then stares down Dofi, but then disappears, grabbing Trafalgar and running away to the surprise of the two, but Trafalgar says, good choice, there's no point in wasting time here. Sanji then says, yeah, but also Luffy has something laid out, so Dofi has to be dealt with by him, not me. Dofi would then get afraid again as he realizes that Luffy is way ahead of him, and this is his way of saying not to go at any of his people, and this is between them or he's gonna die. Now we're gonna go to Usopp, Robin at the home of the Tontatta. I hope I said that right. I don't really remember their tribe name. They're small people, and they were visited by No Blanc before. Now, as they already agreed to join Luffy, they will be told about the dark history of the Colosseum. Frankie is there as well, and they tell him about Luffy as well, and the toy soldier that had been taking care of Rebecca since she was a kid was also there leading the operation of sorts they were trying to, make. He arrived a few minutes ago. Now, after this, we're going to go to the Straw ship, as Nami will strike down a woman from Dofi's family who came to attack, and they can sense more people approaching, so Brook tells Momonosuke to hide inside. Get ready, you three, Brook would say as the ship approaches theirs, but as it does, the ship then stops and starts to turn, confusing the group as they wonder why this is happening. The pirates were called by Dofi, because they were planning to sneak attack, but now that he realized he's in deep crap, he told them to, get away, because he doesn't want to get in more trouble. And Trevor would say, I think it's safe now. Momonosuke pops his head out outside saying, really? They say yeah, and he comes out saying he's tired from training and just out of energy, but, they say it's going to be fine. Now back to the stadium, Luffy, who had just finished his match, is then met by Rebecca, who said that she has something to show Luffy. As Luffy stepped into the prison of the gladiators, he is shocked to see these bandaged fighters, and these fighters who see Rebecca arrive go up to their cells of their bars and ask Luffy for help to help them out. Please, surely you can help us out, right? I mean, you're really strong. You can make us do anything. Just please let us out of this hell. I don't want to be here anymore. Rebecca then explains that these people were locked up and kind of tortured in a way because they stood up against the Dofi family. And Luffy then turns to see Rebecca begging, as just like the prisoners, and she is crying because she knows it's a huge deal to ask Luffy this, but if he doesn't help her, no one else will, because not all emperors are as merciful. No one is really that nice in the world of pirates, and the entire prison shouts for help, and Luffy would then ask, hey, why are you crying? Rebecca looks up to see an enraged Luffy, who would then lift his hand before balling it up into a fist, and using armament hockey, he destroys the bars of the cages as they fall off, shocking everyone. We're leaving. Right now. All the prisoners don't know what to say, and he would then say, I said we're leaving. The prisoners then get out of their cells with urgency as they're leaving, and some guard then comes out, and he gets scared as he sees Luffy and goes to call Dofi, but Luffy then bends down, grabbing and ripping his shadow, which then makes him die instantly as he gets hit by the sun, and then he just cracks and turns to dust. Luffy would then eat the guard's shadow, gaining information about how things have been running down, in this Colosseum for years, and he tells them all to wait here, and they listen, being scared of what's going on. Is he really going to help us, Rebecca? Asked one of the prisoners, and Rebecca would say, I don't know, but something's about to happen. As the sea block gets ready, on the way, Cavendish is about to make an entrance on his horse when it then goes out of control, being scared of something, only to then be quiet when it hears Luffy's voice, telling him to settle down. Straw Hat? Luffy then walks past him and the other contestants, who make way for him, and Ace, who was taking a nap, would then open one of his eyes. Something must have happened. The announcer would then say, it seems Straw Hat is entering the stadium, and he's sitting down? Luffy then sits down cross-legged and then breathes out before then saying, bring me Doflamingo. He releases a huge amount of haki when he says this, which knocks out everyone watching as they fall over in their seats, but Luffy does not direct his haki to the fighters, and he then looks at the announcer. Did I stutter? The announcer then runs away in fear as he grabs his transponder to call Dofi and lets him know that something has gone wrong. Now, as for Sanji and Trafalgar, they meet back with someone named Violet that Sanji met earlier, and Trafalgar can tell that she's a defector. She's a traitor of the Dofi family. And she would tell Sanji that she's a traitor, and this surprises him, but she says that she knows how strong Luffy is and that Dofi will lose, and she's trying to be on the right side. That's why we have to... She then starts to fall as Sanji catches her, and they're in the forest still, by the way, and Trafalgar then asks what's wrong with her, and she says their captain found out about the truth of the Colosseum and is causing mayhem. What's so bad about the Colosseum? Sanji would ask, and Violet would then say, you'll know soon. Let's go. Now back at the stadium, some of Dofi's family would surround Luffy, shaking, unable to move, and they were ordered to watch him. And Luffy then gets bored of waiting for Dofi, and this is when amongst the silence a ring is heard as Luffy picks up his snail, and then he hears something that makes him smile. I guess there was no need to wait then. Luffy then hangs up and stands as all of his men who had chosen to follow him then get enveloped in a purple energy, and they get a huge boost in power, which is this move that everyone has named synchronicity in the pirate world. It's kind of a move that Luffy uses a lot for his subordinates, and that's why his crew is one of the most powerful ones on the sea. And Luffy would then point outside the stadium, and he would then say, that way, all of you, attack Doflamingo's castle now. As he says this, the men get what he was going for, and this was the signal he was talking about. And like a pack of wild wolves, they rush out of there, entering the city, Luffy telling them not to hurt the citizens, only to then realize that the people are already gone because they heard about Luffy going crazy. So they just destroy buildings and just, go forward and just or they're just going crazy. And as Luffy declares this, chaos then ensues, and Diamante and some of Dofi's executives, you know, the strong ones, land surrounding Luffy, as Diamante would then say, "Straw Hat, you've gone too far. You know our boss was with Kaido, right?" He would say with a nervous smile, acting like that's gonna do anything, when Lau and Gladius and Corazon appear on the scene as well, facing him down, and they know they're gonna lose, but they still have a certain sense of pride, and they can't really, you know, go down like this. However, as Diamante yells for everyone to attack Luffy, he stares at them once, and he freezes up, and this kind of makes them just like, you know, just not want to fight anymore. They're kind of scared. But then Ace would then arrive, you know, just out of nowhere. He would then say, "Calm down." Luffy then does, and he says he knows, but he's just kind of pissed. And Ace would then say, "I understand, but you have to be a bit more patient. Now all of you, bring us Doflamingo." At this point, Zoro arrives outside the stadium with Sanji and Trafalgar, as well as Violet, and they met up along the way, and they all feel the ground just start to crumble as people run past them in a frenzy. Over them would then pass the giant hydrogen, and Zoro would then ask, "What the hell is happening?" At this moment, Pika appears out of the ground, a giant hulking golem of just, like, you know, earth, and he blows away all the people rampaging to Dofi's palace, and Sanji lets down Trafalgar, who says he's a bit tired from, you know, fighting Dofi, and Zoro says to leave this to him. Pika then looks at them, more specifically Violet, who had betrayed them, and waves, causing a giant, like just a bunch of giant spikes of earth to pop up, trailing to them. And they all jump, barely avoiding, as Sanji carries Trafalgar into the air, and he gets pissed as he kicks the air behind him, appearing right in front of Pika. His leg then lights on fire. "Watch it, there's a lady here." Pika then goes to block his kick with his hand, but Sanji kicks it, blowing it up, and the fire pressure reaches Pika's face, taking a huge part of his cheek off. Pika then internally thinks, "Shit, he's too strong." Sensing he will not last, he tries to leave the statue, but with red sparks in their eyes, both Sanji and Zoro sense him, as they would then say, "Santorio, Diablo Jambu." As Pika swims underground and goes to leave, and the statue crumbles, he then gets a bad feeling, and in this instant, his back just gets slashed up, and he coughs up blood as the reaction just shoots him out of the ground into the air, and Sanji comes up with a Colette kick to his stomach with so much force that it sends him flying into a cloud, piercing it, and they can't see him anymore. Violet and the others just watch in awe as Sanji lands, putting down Trafalgar, and she would then think, "So these are the men under Straw Hat." "Zoro-senpai," Bartolomeo would then yell as he runs over, and Zoro asks who he is, and Bartolomeo explains what happened with Luffy starting a fleet, and they say, "Yeah, okay, that's fine." But then Zoro would say, "Then what the hell are you standing here for?" The others, hearing the seriousness, run off, with the group then yelling for Luffy, who for some reason is not coming out of the stadium, and this is because Doflamingo would have finally appeared, and Luffy would then say, "Okay, what the hell do you want, Straw Hat? I'm tired of playing your games." Luffy then says, "This isn't a game, you damn sociopath." The prisoners then look at the man who had ruined their lives and made their lives a living hell, and someone from the crowd would then yell for Luffy to punish him, and this makes the rest say the same, with Luffy popping a vein as he cannot do anything but listen, and this reminds him of when he and his family were hung up, and he would then say, "Shut up, shut." He is then grabbed by the shoulder as Luffy then asks, "Why are you even doing this?" Luffy gets silent instantly. "Why are you even doing all this? Do you really think you're that important? Just because you're celestial, you can do whatever you want?" "How did you know that?" Luffy would ask, and Ace would then say, "We did our research. You're a pretty big deal, you know. We're not idiots." And they both would then think, "Also, Sabo told us." And as they think this, Luffy's shadow then flickers as Luffy reads his memories a bit, and as he's talking to him, he sees all the things he's done, and at this point he snaps, "You can't be allowed to live." He then rips off his shadow, and Luffy loses some of his strength as he falls to his knees and notices that his hand is cracking and he's disappearing as his hands become wrinkly, and he then sees Luffy devour his shadow and essence. "No, don't do this. Don't do this." As Luffy does do this because he don't give a damn. This is when all the prisoners cheer as Luffy then gains his devil fruit power, and his body steams as he accepts the power and Luffy's knowledge, but Luffy would die. "That damn Kaido bastard. Even children aren't safe from you." Now as Luffy disappears, leaving behind no trace, his executives fall to their knees in despair, knowing they had lost, and Luffy uses it, Luffy's power, as he then turns his entire left arm into a bunch of strings before reforming it. Pretty convenient power, huh? "Oh, we forgot to get the present for Sabo." Ace would then say, "Shit, wait, don't you know where it is now? Because you can take their memories or whatever." And Luffy says, "Oh yeah," and they then head off to, get the fruit, which is the Yami Yami no Mi, or Yomi Yomi no Mi. I don't really care. The dark fruit, okay? Same thing. Just, yeah, they're gonna get the dark fruit for Sabo. It's his present of sorts, because they're cool like that. Now, by this point, the other members of the Straw Hats have fought and destroyed their opponents with their power, and they have destroyed a lot of people, because Luffy's boosts are insane. They've taken over Luffy's castle with the help of Usopp, who takes out the main defense of the castle like the original. And after Usopp takes out Sugar, Kairos transforms right into the form, well, his true form, in front of everyone. The Tontattas, the entire tribe, everyone is just surprised. And Usopp would then ask, how? Kairos looks at himself not being back to normal but missing a leg, and Frankie would then ask if Sugar got to her, and that's how he ended up this way. And he would say, yes, but it seems I'm back. Good to know. Now we can blow that place sky high, Frankie would say, as he then shoots a disastrous attack at the castle, destroying part of it. And Kiyomon leads the attack, as we then cut to them finding the old King Riku, who was held prisoner there. So Kiyomon cuts him free, and they let him out. And after the defeat of Dofi, of course, his secrets and horrible actions were released to the world, and Riku takes the role of the king once again. Rebecca gets to see her father, Kairos, who was actually a hero, and who had been with her this entire time. Luffy found the fruit they were fighting for. Yami Yami no Mi. Searched it up. I'm pretty sure it's Yami Yami no Mi. If it's Yomi Yomi, tell me, okay? And him and Ace find it. Like I said, Riku's made king again. And the entire kingdom owes a debt to Luffy and his fleet. And Trafalgar gets back to Khorasan's belongings back, because I think that's what he wanted in the original. The tribe, the small tribe, I don't like to say their name. The Tontatta. That sounds weird to me. So they come out of hiding, and there's a statue made of King Riku and Luffy to commemorate his efforts. And also, Kiyomon finds Kanjuro hiding, in the Dofi's castle and everything. And the fact that Luffy's fleet raided the entire kingdom of Dofi, which is a big deal, because Dofi's executors are strong as hell. This is something that rocked the world, and to find out that this was all just like a frontal attack, there was no planning, it was just even more crazy. And yeah, he had a strong fleet now. Also, Sai still ends up with Baby 5, that guy who was one of Chinjao's men. He ends up with Baby 5, this beautiful lady right here. He lucky as hell, he don't deserve that, I'm sorry. I'm joking, I love Sai. So she leaves Dofi, of course. Baby 5 is not part of Dofi's family anymore. And as they leave, everyone celebrates on the giant ship of the Straw Hats while keeping their ships close. Trafalgar has left for now, but he's going to meet back up with them when they find Zhao. Luffy would then say, "To our victory," as he raises a cup into the air, and everyone cheers as they chug down, their drinks, and then they slam their cups back down. "So, what are your plans now?" Sai would yell, and Luffy would then look at them confused. I mean, I'm gonna become the king of the pirates. I feel like I've been saying that a lot, haven't I? Seeing the seriousness in his face makes Bartolomeo and his crew cry, saying that Luffy is so awesome. But then Leo would then ask how he plans on doing that. And Luffy would then say, well, the easiest way is to take down Big Mom and Kaido. And now that I have a third devil fruit, I feel it's gonna be overkill. Frankie then, as he's piloting the ship, then looks back saying, maybe you should hold back a bit on stealing powers for a while. It's gonna get confusing along the line. And Luffy says that is true before then getting serious, as he says he's not too strict. You can all do your thing, and when you need us, we'll be there. And vice versa. Support us, we support you. We'll be friends. So they're all surprised by this, because Luffy is known for his carefree attitude, but they're surprised at how carefree he is. And they say okay, and this makes them like him even more. And this is when Zoro says that their bounties have risen again, because he was reading a newspaper. And Bartolomeo, getting excited, then puts up a chart he made of himself, and he has everyone's the people who got their bounties risen, and it would be Zoro, Usopp, and Sanji. Now Zoro has 950 million, Usopp has 214 million, Sanji has 750 million, and Sanji then scoffs, saying, "You must be full of yourself, Mosshead," as everyone in the crew then sees how close Zoro is to reaching 1 billion, and they congratulate him. And the same goes for Sanji, but Sanji says that he is to be buried alive, as he reads his poster and says, "Why is that a thing?" And this is weird, but they said they would figure it out later. They then share transponders and go their separate ways, but Bartolomeo and the Heart Pirates stay, and they head to Zao with them. Now Bartolomeo and his group would be fanboying like crazy, but this is when Luffy gets interested in something, and he calls Kanjuro over, and he would then say, "Yes, Luffy Dono," as Luffy then jumps down from the Sunny's head, and he walks up to Kanjuro as he puts his hand on his shoulder, and he whispers, "Why would you betray your own people?" Kanjuro gets scared as everyone finds it hard to breathe in this instant, and Momonosuke then asks Luffy to stop, because he knows what he's about to do, because he's sending off this aura. But then he is held back by Kiyomon and the Straw Hats, and Kiyomon would then say, "Luffy Dono must have a good reason for this." Kanjuro then thinks, how does he know? Luffy then asks again, "You really dare to stand on my ship while being in leagues with Kaido?" This time he yells this, shocking them all, as Bartolomeo would then ask, Are you sure, Luffy-senpai? And Luffy says that he read his memories with his Kage no Mi, and he says that Kanjuro was never on their side. Momonosuke manages to run out as he tugs on Kanjuro's kimono, asking if this is true in tears, and his eyes would just be widened when Kanjuro turns around with pure bloodlust in his eyes, making Momonosuke fall back scared when all the Straws then appear around him, each pointing at him their respective weapons and limbs, because Sanji don't fight with weapons, and Chopper would then ask, why? Why would you do this? Kanjuro doesn't answer, only being scared as Robin then says, I think we should throw him overboard, Captain. We can't have him around a child. Clearly they're all mad, but Kinemon steps up asking if he could be shown what Luffy found out, and Luffy nods as it is only fair, and he touches his shadow, and Kinemon gets what Luffy got and becomes quiet. Kinemon then takes out a sword. Momonosuke-sama, please go inside. But I don't want to. Momonosuke then begs him to leave, and he does, and as he closes the door behind him, he would hear a quick slash, as back outside, Kinemon would have killed Kanjuro, cutting off his head. What now? Usopp would ask, and Luffy sighs as he cannot even fathom how traumatized Momonosuke must be. We will never speak of this again, and Momonosuke has to be protected more. He's already gone through too much. This is too much. They all nod and things become very quiet from that day on, and it's understandable as Momonosuke goes into a bit of a depressive state, but the Straw Hats try to cheer him up as best as they can, but it does not work. Soon they make it to Zao though and meet Trafalgar again and his crew, and Trafalgar would explain that this elephant had been alive for almost a millennium, and they're shocked. This is incredible. So tired. Luffy would hear this mumbling and whispering in his ear as he looks around asking, did you guys not hear that? Hear what? Zoro would ask, as Momonosuke then runs out of his room asking the same thing, and he heard a weird wailing, and they all get weirded out as Luffy then yells, hey, are you talking to us? And he yells at the elephant, who then slowly turns his head and opens his mouth. But while no one can hear anything, Momo can feel its feelings, not hear it, and Luffy can actually hear its voice asking for help. What's wrong with you? Trafalgar would say. Are you saying you can understand it? Robin then says that shouldn't be possible because it is foretold that Zunesha, who carries the island of Zao, due to being in the Void Century once, only speaks in an ancient language, and Luffy would then say, no wonder I can understand him. Luffy then says they can talk about this later, and they climb Zao with the help of Luffy's string fruit, and uses the pulley of sorts to put them all there, and he also puts his ship on there because he's not leaving that shit down below. He does the same with Trafalgar's ship, and they land in the seas of Zao. And they meet Dogstorm and Kai Viper, and because Kinemon is there, he proves his, actual innocence as being a part of Wano, so everything is fine. And Luffy grows back Dogstorm's leg because I always found that annoying. That makes no sense. Why is this dude able to fight with one leg? Even if it's One Piece, that defies the laws of physics. And Dogstorm is strong, but he's not that strong. Come on. Anyway, he grows it back, and the minks start to celebrate, and they're having some fun. Now, in one room, Dogstorm, Kinemon, Luffy, and Cat Viper would sit as they explain what happened, and Dogstorm would then say, a few days ago, some of Kaido's men attacked. They spread this dangerous gas. It's actually been ruining our forest for a while now. How strong was this Jack guy, Luffy would ask, and Cat Viper growls, saying he was a natural disaster. We lost horribly, but you can help us, right? Dogstorm then agrees, saying you have the ability to manipulate life force, or something like that. Luffy then says, well, to a certain degree, but that's gonna take a while, as he says this, and everything is shaking at this point, and that's why his voice kind of stutter like that. And they go out to see a giant wave of water coming to their place, but using her devil fruit, Robin makes a giant wall of hands to hold back the water. Luffy then yells, asking what's going on, and one of the minks would say that Zunesha must be trying to shake the island off, or it's just raging. They don't know what's going on. Luffy then looks to see Momonosuke crying while holding his head in pain, and Kinemon will be asking what's wrong. Everyone is just panicking, and the ground just won't stop shaking, and this is when Luffy hears Zunesha's voice again. I've seen you before. You can help me. You're even older than I am. Luffy then says that before he can help Zao, he has to hold on Zunesha, he has to hold on a little longer, but he says that he's barely holding out, and Luffy panics as he jumps down to the minks, who are trying to get away, but he puts his hand down, slamming it as light then pours out of him, and everyone then sees as Luffy starts sharing his life force with Zunesha. Zoro would then say, Luffy, this thing is too old and too big to do this, stop. Luffy then looks at him saying, don't worry, this much is nothing. Momo, help me out here. Kinemon then says that Momo cannot possibly help him because he is just a child, and Luffy says he can, as he can also hear Zunesha, and he needs Momo to support him, and he begs him to. Momonosuke is nervous right now, and Kinemon goes to tell him that he doesn't have to, but then he yells, telling Zunesha that he understands how it feels, and everyone is stunted by this loud burst of, just energy out of him. And he would then say, you must feel so lonely and tired of it all, but your citizens are depending on you, and so is Luffy. Just hang on a little longer. Luffy then cranks up his power, and Zunesha's once skinny legs become more and more lively, full of energy. His old scars heal, his saggy skin becomes more tightened, and he regains the muscles he had once lost. And Luffy then says, "You're a greedy little bastard, huh? Here, have some more." He then loses consciousness as everyone runs to him, but Chopper checks his pulse saying that it's okay, and he's okay. And Chopper would then say, "You just used too much power. He's gonna be out for a while." "Wait, did you hear that?" "There's no more mumbling," one of the minks would say, as Zunesha has stopped falling and, losing power, and is actually moving faster than ever. And he communicates this to Mumbo, who tells everyone that they're fine, and they all feel relieved. Zunesha also shares that bit of sympathy towards Mumbo, saying that everything will be well, and he's still a child, so he has the right to feel a little bit sad, and it's okay to cry. So he acts like one and cries, but Kiyomon and everyone accept the sadness because Momo is just a kid, okay? He's been through too much. Now, a few hours later, Luffy wakes up to see Chopper and Momonosuke, and Momonosuke would then yell, "Luffy!" as he would then hug him with tears in his eyes, and Chopper yells to everyone that Luffy had woken up. And with that, the Straw Hats walk in, as does Dogstorm and Cat Viper, and Cat Viper would then say, "Welcome back, Straw Hat." Luffy then sits up patting Momo on the head, and he would then ask, "Anything happened when I was out?" They all get quiet and sweat a lot, as it's just a weird atmosphere, and they go to say something, but then someone bursts in as they tackle Luffy, hitting Momo away. "Hey, watch it," Momo would say, as he then looks up to the person, who then turned to Momo, but he then blushes as he sees this person. He's not mad at all. And then this person would then turn to look at Luffy. "Boa?" Boa hugs him, asking who made Luffy like this, and they say that no one did and he was trying to help the elephant. And she then says that maybe they should just kill this animal, which terrifies them all. But Luffy calms her down, asking how she even made it here so fast. "I felt like something was wrong, so I called, and there was." Zoro would then say, "That's not intuition, that's just creepy." Boa then scoffs, saying, "Whatever you want to call it, that was right." She then goes back to hugging Luffy, and Dogstorm would then ask why the Pirate Empress is here. And Luffy says, "Simply put, we're a couple." Boa then nods to this, and Dogstorm says that she is definitely quite the character, and she says thank you, but he says he's not complimenting her, which makes her kind of pissed. Then Luffy gets up and asks Zunesha if he's really fine, and he says yes, because they can kind of telepathically speak, and the rest of them say yes. And Dogstorm would then say, "I forgot to ask you this since you came all this way, and so much has happened, but is there any chance that Kanjuro is with you by any chance?" And they all get a serious look on their face, as Momo would then say, "It's okay, I'm over it." Cat Viper can clearly tell something happened, and all the adults are clearly, worried about Momo, because they don't want to even bring up Kanjuro's name, but Momo says he's really fine, and so Cat Viper and Dogstorm just kind of lay off for that, and they say that they actually have Raizo here, and that they'll talk about Kanjuro later, and Kiyomon is happy to hear that, Raizo is here, so they leave the room and head out, and as they are, Boa's still snuggling up with Luffy, because she's overprotective like that, and Frankie would then ask who this Raizo is. Kiyomon would then say, "Oh, Raizo was a spectacular ninja from my land. What's wrong with all of you?" Luffy, Chopper, Usopp, and Frankie then get quiet before then looking up with their eyes twinkling. "An actual ninja? We have to meet him right now." Now that is where I'm going to end this part off. Sorry if it's a little short, but I don't have that much time on me anymore. And sorry about any background noise you may have heard. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Mostly subscribe. But, hit the like button because that helps with the algorithm. People can view my videos more. Again, subscribe. You guys are finally subscribing like you used to. So, I'm back on my grind. Don't worry. What if Naruto at the Eyes of the Lord Part 2 is coming? I already wrote that shit, like, really long ago. It's just like with this series. I wrote all the way up to the 7th part before things became slow because I didn't write up to Part 9. But you get what I'm saying. I've been writing this for a while. I just didn't know if I could release it. But don't worry, it's coming soon, and so is What If Asta was Zoro's Reincarnation. I'm going to get through the Elf arc, and we can move on to the final arc and end this series and end it off on a good note. Alright, stay safe, and goodbye.